People from across the country will be paying close attention to our state as Iowa Republicans kick off the first contest in the race for the Republican presidential nomination.
KCCI's Nicole Tam spoke with one analyst who's watching the caucuses play out from Washington, D.C. Nicole.
Right now, I'm joined by analyst Mark Sandalo. Mark, this really is the first major test in this year for these GOP candidates. So what do you think voters outside of Iowa will be watching for during the caucuses?
All right, Nicole, let's be real for a moment. Most people outside of Iowa on Monday night, they're going to be watching the NFL. I mean, I think we've got the Eagles and the Bucks playing. That's going to be the attention of most of the nation. But for those of us who follow politics, I think there are two big stories out of Iowa. The first is whether or not Donald Trump meets expectations. He is so far ahead in the polls that if he doesn't win by double digits, people are going to be talking around the country about potential vulnerability. The other big story is whether or not Nikki Haley has finally passed Governor DeSantis. DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has been in solid second place for months and months. Nikki Haley has been creeping up on him. If she comes in a strong second, or even a weak second, but higher than DeSantis in Iowa, I think that will be the big national headline.
And speaking of people outside our state, how can these caucuses really make or break these candidates in the eyes of voters?
History has shown that it's not about winning in Iowa. I mean, talk to Ted Cruz or Rick Santorum or Mike Huckabee about that. All of them won Iowa. None of them got their party's nomination. It's really about meeting expectations and being respectable. I mean, Donald Trump himself lost the Iowa caucus in 2016 and went on to win the nomination because he was respectable enough to go forward. I don't know if Iowa has actually killed off a candidate since Howard Dean did his famous yowl back when he was running for the Democratic nomination. But I do think that people get their perceptions of the ability of the candidates. And well, listen, with the freezing cold that's going to be happening, whatever candidate's able to get their voters out there certainly will earn the respect of people simply for their parties, their campaigns, organizational abilities to get them to brave that weather.
Yeah, and Mark, and just this past week, we did see Chris Christie drop out of the race before the caucuses. We're now down to 6 candidates for those GOP voters to choose from. So do you see this field getting even smaller once Iowans go through the caucuses tomorrow?
It's certainly possible. I mean, it's not that somebody will say, oh, I can't believe I did that bad in Iowa, I should get out of it. It's a matter of the donor saying, we're not giving you any more money. If Governor DeSantis does not perform up to expectations, it's going to be very hard for him to continue to raise money. He wants to stay in at least until mid-March when Florida voters in much warmer temperatures will be going to the polls. So it's possible if DeSantis does poorly that he doesn't hang on. But, Nikki Haley is assuming that she's going to do very well in New Hampshire. So regardless of what happens with Iowa, I imagine she stays in. And then you've got sort of the more people on the fringe. Asa Hutchinson is still running around the state getting votes. He'll stay in until the money runs out. So I don't know if the results are going to matter unless the money dries up.
And we have seen these candidates spend a lot of time and money here in the state, a lot of them also making trips to the state since first launching their campaign, so it's been months in the making. What do you expect to see on their schedule once this caucus is over here in Iowa?
Anyone who wants to be president is going to be on that, red eye going out to New Hampshire immediately, because that's always what happens. I mean, 8 days later, all the focus, Cinderella, the clock strikes midnight, and suddenly Iowa loses its appeal. Iowa used to be very important for the general campaign. I mean, out of the last 12 elections, 6 times a Democrat, 6 times a Republican. But it's turned into a much more reliably Republican state when it comes to the presidential election. There are dozens of states with far more electoral votes than Iowa, including those who have had much closer elections in 2020. I mean, Donald Trump won by 8 percentage points. So whereas the candidates used to come back to Iowa to try to win the general election, for better or worse, and I'm sure there are Iowans out there who feel both ways about this, get a good look at them now because you may not see them very much between now and November.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for your insight.